Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Tuesday the 27th of January 2026. In today's Mill news, where is he? Where is he? Where are you, Barry? Barry, where are you? He hasn't been signed yet, but apparently he's completed his medical, so, drip, 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 drip. I wonder if they can drag it out until the final day of the transfer window. Or drag it out until Friday, just to keep it going. So then when we do eventually sign a player in this window, we're like, oh, wow, so great. So fantastic. Yeah, very bizarre deal, isn't it? A 36-year-old from a team that's going to get relegated. It does seem like a bit of a panic buy, but we'll see what happens. We'll see how it works out or it doesn't work out. So this is from southernnews.co.uk, and Barry Bannan completes Millwall medical. So they published this. They've obviously been told that that's happened. Barry Bannan's completed his medical with Millwall. News that then understands. How do you understand? Did somebody tell you? Bannan 36 will be unveiled by the club on Wednesday. That's tomorrow. Ironic, given he's coming from Sheffield Wednesday. Hi. Do you think they did that on purpose? The midfielder will become the Lions' first and only signing of the January window. The former Scottish international leaves Sheffield Wednesday after spending over 10 years at Hillsborough, making 434 league appearances for the Owls. Born in Airdrie, Bannan came through Celtic and then Aston Villa's academy before making his first team debut for the Villains in the UEFA Cup game in December 2008. After loan stints at Derby County, Blackpool and Leeds United, he joined Crystal Palace permanently in 2013, where he made 22 Premier League appearances across 2 seasons. So, again, is the deal done and they're just going to announce it tomorrow, or is there still bits and pieces to do? We'll see. But there you go. Interesting enough. So if he does sign in time, we presume it. If he does sign, his first game that he could be involved in will be Sheffield United, and then in 2 weeks' time, Sheffield Wednesday. Now, will he play in that, or will he ask to be out of that game? I don't think we need him to beat them, because I think they're fucking dog shit, and they're letting even more players go. Like I said, I think nothing's going to happen to them because it's already happening. So if they're like, I don't know how the rules work in terms of fielding a team that's not competitive, because I think they've just given up. They're thinking, why are we spending money? We're going down, So how badly is it going to turn out? Obviously we still have to play them. Who else still has to play them where it matters at the top of the table? Because if they get involved in all that stuff, and then they start losing 6, 7, 8-0 to certain teams. Now if we beat them fucking 8-0, I will love it. I would love it. But they still need to be competitive. They can't just let anyone half decent go and field, a dross team. They can't do that. It's not fair. It's not fair at all. If they were going to do that, they probably should have done that halfway through the season, which would have been around Boxing Day. And they should have done this business at the start of January, and then it would have been, fair that everyone had a game against them before and a game against them after. But we'll see how we go. But apparently it's gonna be happening. So there you go. Now, injury update from again southernnews.co.uk. See, published on the Thursday. Millwall midfielder in contention for Sheffield United return. Derek Mazusako is in contention to return against Sheffield United this weekend. Alex Neil said the 21-year-old midfielder had only just returned from a 6-week spell on the sidelines with an ACL sprain when he suffered a bone bruise in training on the eve of Mill's FA Cup tie against Burnley, ruling him out for the past 2 weeks. Derek trained with us this week. I think Derek should potentially be involved for the weekend as far as the squad goes, but it will be based on how he goes this week. The Frenchman joined Mill in the final days of the summer transfer window, has made 12 appearances for the club so far. Moving on to story number 3, which is from the southernnews.co.uk again. Mill boss gives injury update on Will Smallbone and Dan Kelly. Where is Will Smallbone? Apparently he was going to go to Sheffield United. Is that not happening then? Alex Neil is hopeful Will Smallbone will be back soon, but fears Dan Kelly will miss the rest of the season. So is that why we signed Barry Bannan then? Both midfielders picked up hamstring injuries, Smallbone in late October and Kelly in December, that have kept them on the sideline since. We'll be back potentially at the end of February, the start of March, Alex Neil said. Dan Kelly, I'm not so sure we'll see him this year. This season, you mean? This year? Fucking hell. We're not going to see him until 2027? I think he means this season. Smallbone, 25, joined the Lions on loan from Southampton and made 6 appearances before pulling up 26 minutes into a 2-0 win over Stoke City on October the 21st. Kelly, 20, has made 16 appearances since signing from Celtic in the summer of 2024. He made his first league start in late November and started 3 consecutive matches before his injury. So there you go. There's that. There was a game today. The game did go ahead. The Storm Chakra, whatever it's called, didn't rain it out. It was away at Swansea's training ground. Swansea City under 21s 1, Millwall under 21s 1. It was a 1-1 draw. Bit of gutting because we were leading 1-0 and they scored right. Well, we scored right at the end of the first half. They scored right at the end of the second half. So this is the match report from SwanseaCity.com, Swansea City's official website. So do bear that in mind because it's obviously written from their perspective. I'm sure we'll get the Millwall one tomorrow. A late goal from Sam Parker saw Swansea City under 21 secure a point against Millwall under 21s and extend their unbeaten run to 5 matches in all competitions at the Joma High Performance Centre. Millwall took the lead late in the first half through Elias Mansour, but Parker's composed finish in the final minute of normal time earned the Swans a deserved share of the spoils. The Swans created plenty of chances throughout the contest and will have good calls to feel this was 2 points dropped. The opening stages were cagey, with the visitors enjoying more possession without creating much in the way of clear chances. The first effort on goal fell to Mansour, but his tame strike from just outside the area was comfortably saved by Tom Wright in the Swansea goal. Swansea began to grow into the contest, looking dangerous down the flanks through Callum Jones and Josh Pescatore, though forwards Tom Woodward and Morgan Bates were unable to apply the finishing touch to a series of dangerous deliveries from out wide. A slick move midway through the half saw Woodward play Jones. Which one? You must have more than one Jones. You're your Welsh team, no? Through on goal with support up with him, but the winger's low effort was denied by the outstretched leg of Mill goalkeeper Casper Lindner. Jones continued to be Swansea's main threat, later producing a superb touch from a crossfield pass before curling an effort towards the far corner, forcing Lindner into a full stretch save to turn the ball behind. From the resulting corner, Pescatore delivered onto the head of Woodward, whose initial header was blocked before his follow-up was cleared by the Millwall defence. The closing moments of the first half were action-packed, with Wright producing a superb double save to deny Callum Redhead before making another crucial stop to keep out Rafik Lamptey seconds later. However, Millwall broke the deadlock shortly afterwards when Benicio Baker lifted a precise pass over the defence for Mansour, who took the ball down before drilling a fine finish into the bottom corner. Bosh! Woodward had a chance to respond before the interval after being teed up by Bates, but his effort flew over the bar as the home side headed back to the dressing rooms, a goal down. Swansea came out strongly after the break, determined to respond. Woodward drove into the area early on, but fired into the side netting from 12 yards out. The hosts thought they had equalised with 25 minutes remaining when Parker's fizzing delivery found Woodward, whose shot was blocked before Bates' follow-up was cleared off the line by Tristan Parks. Sustained pressure followed, with Woodward again going close after driving through midfield, but his placed effort drifted narrowly wide of the target. Parker also threatened, cutting inside before firing into the side netting as Millwall continued to sit deep and protect their lead. The Swans finally found their breakthrough in the final minute of normal time. A quick move down the left saw Josiah Kalacharan deliver into the area, with Bates showing good composure to hold the ball up before Parker arrived to slot calmly past Lindner and spark jubilant celebrations. Swansea pushed for a late winner, with Lindner forced into another save from Woodward before being replaced, while Kai Rhodes called an effort narrowly wide as the points were shared in South Wales. That last line is very interesting because I did see that our keeper got subbed off at the end of the game. Now, I assumed that he was involved in the goal. Maybe he tried to save it and got himself injured. Hit the post or something like that. But so Swansea pushed for a late winner, with Lindner forced into another save from Woodward before being replaced. So did he injure himself making that save? Because as we go down, you can see the team is here. Casper Lindner, that's the keeper. Sacha Vieira, Daniel Amuse, Oliver Whitby, Dean Forbes, Tristan Parks, Benicio Baker, Rafiq Lamptey, Callum Redhead, Elias Mansour and Sheldon Kendall. The subs were Justin Nidicum, 90 minutes for Casper Lindner, William Wright for Dean Forbes at half-time, Tristan Hammond Chains on 75 minutes for Benicio Baker, and Edward Payton on for Rafiq Lamptey in the 62nd minute. So, yeah, that's... Hopefully he's okay. Because, keepers, that could be a bit... That could be a bit dangerous. Substitute not used Lewis Rogers. So, but there you go. Pretty, that's a decent result from a team that beat us. 5-1 the other day, or the other month. So to go away, we went there away in the cup and we lost. I think it was 2 or 3-1. So decent result now. So yeah. So let's have a look at the table. This is from flashscore.co.uk. And that's the northern table, the north. And this is the southern table, the south. We're still in fourth. 17 games played, 25 points. If we click on that, yeah. So next up for us is Charlton away. That was supposed to be at Prince's Park, but I think they moved it to their training ground, which is a shame, because it's always a decent game. Very highly contested. But that was our first draw of the season in the league. Huzzah! Look at that. We've won 8, we've drawn 1, we've lost 8. We've got 33 goals scored and 32 against. Amazing. So yeah. If we look, so Cardiff got 2 games in hand on us. Swansea, they have 4 games in hand on us. So if they win those, they get 35. They'll be top of the table. But it seems they're struggling because they're probably playing 2 games a week now, which is quite a feat of endurance. But we are in 4th on 25 points. We have played extra games, But it's up to the other teams. They have to win games. If they draw, obviously they can't overtake us. If they lose, they certainly can't. But obviously they can't all lose. So do expect us to drop down. We just have to finish in the top 8 to go through to the new end of season competition that they're doing. But so we only have to finish in the top 8. Now, could we get up there? I mean, obviously you're hoping Swansea don't run the table and win all their games, but realistically, I mean, we're only 4 points off top, so as long as we keep chugging along, I mean, we should be fine. Yeah, not bad, eh? Not bad at all. Quite a shaky start to the start of the season. Large turnover of players, struggling. Putting out under 18 players for the under 21s. Quite a lot. Injury problems for the under 21s as well as for the first team, which meant they were missing players, but still in that 4th in the table at the moment. So good to see. Good to see. Now, moving on to this from millfc.co.uk. New stadium tour dates on sale! ! Yes, step into Mill history. Experience the magic within. Walk the path many Lion legends have taken and feel the passion in SC16 on our 1-hour guided tour. The Den is one of the most iconic football stadiums in England, making it a perfect place to learn all about the colourful history and heritage of Millwall Football Club. The guided tour will start in a brand new hospitality lounge before stopping off at various different locations in the stadium, such as the director's box, the press area and Paul Jiggins Media Suites. The tour is rounded off by taking a player's walk from the dressing room through the tunnel and out to the dugouts. The experience cannot end without making sure you grab a picture next to Alex Neil's seat. And these are the dates. Obviously, they do it before games. Even night games, they do it. So, it's basically these 3 games, and then Tuesday the 17th of February, 1:30. I don't know is that half term? I'm not sure. Is there a half term coming up? But it's not a kids one. I don't know if they still do the special kids one, but it's just seems to be a normal one. That's going at 1:30. So before the Sheffield Wednesday game, it's 10:30 a.m. Tuesday the 17th of February at 1:30 p.m. Portsmouth. That's Saturday the 21st. That's 10:30 a.m. And Birmingham City. That's obviously a night game. Wednesday the 25th. And that is 3:30 p.m. So 3:30 p.m. An hour tour. That takes you to 4:30. And then you've got to find something to do until the game kicks off. What a long old day that'll be. So season ticket holders get a discount. There's all kinds of prices. It's £15 for adults, £10 for concessions, £8 for under 18. Season ticket holders get £2 discount on those prices. Junior tours, which there were no junior tours there. They looks like they're still doing them. They're priced at £10 for adults and £5 for under 16s. For a Legends tour, where you get guided by a former Millwall player, tickets are priced at £22 for adults, £15 for over 63s, and £10 for under 18s. Okay, so there you go. If you wanted to do that, you go to the ticket website and buy it like a normal ticket. Now, this isn't the end of the video, not by far. I've got a lot to talk about at the end of the video. But we're going to talk about the done deals. Obviously, our deal hasn't been done yet. Still going. But, so, deals regarding championship teams. Leicester have loaned out Jake Evans to Northampton. Coventry have signed a player called Noah Markello from FC Zurich. That's in Switzerland, if you're not good at geography. Now, Dan Neil, this is not a player that we were linked with, but I think a lot of the some fans were suggesting, hey, he would be a good signing. Instead of Barry Bannan. I think he's a central midfielder still. He's Dan Neil. So Sunderland, he's gone to Ipswich on loan. So they've picked up a couple of... They signed Dan Neil from Sunderland, and they signed that geezer from Bristol City, Anis Mehmeti. Certainly making some improvements, aren't they, Ipswich? Aren't they? Middlesbrough have loaned in Jeremy Sarmiento from Brighton. So again, a rival. We're competing with them at the top of the table. They brought in a player. Corey Blackett-Taylor has left Derby and gone on loan to Bolton. And some deals from yesterday that we didn't talk about is... Where is it? So Andy Cannon has gone from Wrexham to Burton on loan. Paris Magoma, I think we did talk about that one. He's gone to Norwich from Brentford. Yep. Okay. So there you go. That's transfer done deals. Reminder, the window closes next Monday. 7 p.m, I believe. So that will be fun. Now, I told you about this the other day. You probably clicked off because it's the most boring subject in the world. Planning news. The planning news. It's been granted already. It's flown through. They're not fucking around. They signed it off. They granted it. So this was details pursuant to Condition 8 Part 2, the Archaeological Watching Brief. And it has been granted today, the 27th of January. It's been signed off. And just to round it up, the condition was prior to commencement of development, following on from the evaluation in Section 1, any safeguarding measures to ensure preservation in situ of important archaeological remains and or further archaeological investigation and recording with a specification and timetable which has been submitted to and approved by the local planning authority. And this was the consultation from Kent County Council Archaeology Department. The WSI for watching brief by RPS is suitable, and I will be happy for Condition 8.2 to be discharged. So there you go. And if we go to where we go here. So the WSI submitted for this application continues to cover geology and topography, the history and background, objectives and methodology, recording and reporting, before providing the Kent Watching Brief specification and copies of the plans for the targeted trial areas. Kent County Council Archaeology have reviewed the WSI for targeted archaeological works and have confirmed it is sufficient. Kent County Council have confirmed that there has been ongoing dialogue regarding the works and that the condition can be fully discharged. So yeah, I don't know if this they've involved them in it, so there's no reason for them. They were involved in it. They were talking to the company that made the report, so it's no surprise that they've done it. It is very surprising they've done it this quickly, but let's go. Let's get it built. Let's get it built. Now, end of the video. The video is 23 minutes long at this point. We're probably going to be here another half an hour. And I'll tell you for why. Right, before we got this from the Daily Mail. Exclusive. The London Football Club with the most hate crimes arrests. Can you guess who it is yet? You'll be surprised. And then we're going to finish with a special reading of the FA's written reasons. The report into the melee at Bristol City. And this is going to be something. So before that though, we go back to the dailymail.co.uk. The London Football Club with the most hate crime arrests. Chelsea. It's Chelsea. Now, however, you would say, well, they get more fans. Clearly, they get more fans. So it's, is it per capita? Do you even understand per capita? Not a lot of people don't. Chelsea home supporters are more likely to be arrested for hate crimes than any other London Premier League side. Daily Mail analysis shows, and football fans attending Stamford Bridge are twice more likely to be nicked for racism or homophobia related crimes than at any of Chelsea's London rivals, according to Met Police data and attendance statistics. Supporters attending matches at the homes of Queen's Park Rangers, Millwall, Leyton Orient and West Ham also make up the top 5. Hey, we made the top 5 of the capital's 12 stadiums in the top 3 tiers. Police made 119 arrests for hate crimes or hate-related public order offences at football matches during the 24-25 season at the 12 clubs. Is that a news story? How many? That's probably less than get arrested at Notting Hill Carnival every year. And you're telling me this is how many people have been arrested just for those? Obviously, there's other things here, but just for hate crimes. Hate, in it, inverted commas, hate crimes. In a whole season at 12 football clubs. According to Met Police data obtained in the Freedom of Information request, almost all were related to racism or homophobia, although there was one arrest for charity chanting. Oh, the new thing that they brought in. 40 of them came at Stamford Bridge in Chelsea's 28 home fixtures in all competitions, working out at an average of 1.4 hate arrests per match, as they finished 4th in the Premier League and won the Europa Conference League. Just under 1.1 million fans attended those matches, which included supporters from Belgium, Armenia, Ireland, Denmark, Poland and Sweden, although no foreign fan was arrested for hate crimes. Can you imagine if you're a foreign fan, you come to a game in England, you save up, big occasion for you, getting a plane over to the Chelsea game, you go in there, you join in with the singing that everyone else around you is doing, then you get yanked out and arrested for calling Ben Chilwell a Chelsea rent boy. Yikes. There were 138 arrests for all crimes at the stadium. Right, so let's figure this out. Let's back that right. So 119 arrests. Now that's the whole season. 40. So there were 40 arrests at Stamford Bridge in these competitions. 40 arrests for hate crimes, but there were 138 arrests for all crimes. So does that include the 40? So then you had what, another 60? That's 90. What, 98? So 98 arrests for crimes, other crimes, 40 for hate crimes, and 1.1 million fans attended. Is this a big deal? Doesn't seem to be a big deal. I mean, that's 0.00001%, huh? Like, this is probably why they've done this. Arrest rate per 100,000. They've done it per capita, per 100,000 people. And this doesn't even... It's all the same colour. It's literally all the same colour. There's nothing in it. Like, it looks like they're trying to push an agenda, don't you think? Stadium hate arrests. So this is just in the stadium. I thought they said we made the top 5. We're number 6. So, Chelsea, 40. That's a lot. The next one, Tottenham with 19. Then Arsenal with 14. West Ham with 14. Now, West Ham? Is that a hate crime against Muslims? It's called Ham. Maybe, I mean, QPR, 7. Millwall, 6. Brentford, 4. Leyton Orient 3. Fulham, 2. Wimbledon, 2. Charlton, 2. And squeaky clean Crystal Palace, 0. Wow. And the number of hate arrests... let's read this under this graphic. Freedom of information from the Met Police. We are only including London clubs from Premier League to League One. So, who's that not including then? Bromley. Statistics based on the 24-25 season. Are there any London clubs? Sutton? Was Sutton in it then? And the number of hate arrests at the stadium was more than double any other London club, with 19, the second most. 1 in 27,000 people attending a game at Chelsea were arrested for hate-related offences. That is more than double those attending Loftus Road. Yeah. The Den, home to Millwall, club with historic reputation for hooliganism. You know, they don't mention the R word there though. Ranked third with 1 in 61,000 fans arrested for hate crimes. So what's going on here then? So what have they done here? They published this. How are we third? Because then, so this is the raw numbers, and then they've done it. They seem to have put the numbers and done it per fan attending, and if you do that, we're third. Not bad, eh? Not bad. Tottenham Stadium comes 6 with 1 in 91,000 arrested. So at the other end, yeah, we know Crystal Palace didn't arrested. And Fulham, they're saying, they're just a mile from Stamford Bridge, but they've only got 1 in 264,000. The arrests are just the tip of the iceberg because many hate incidents go unreported. Yeah. The thing is, right, unless you get it on video and you record it, who's going to give a shit? So this is home fan hate arrests. So this is just the home fans. So the 6 arrests here, that was all home fans. But the thing, so why there were so many arrests at Chelsea? Probably due to the Chelsea rent boy chant. So literally, only 12 Chelsea fans are arrested. So they've literally been targeting away fans at Chelsea's games for singing that rent boy thing, the rent boy chant. And they've just been getting people arrested for that. Isn't that ridiculous? Isn't that absolutely ridiculous? And there's some guy who's making this. There's a guy here. He's got a quote. I'm not going to read it. But listen to this. He's the director of the Anti-Discrimination Division of Football Supporters Europe. Wow. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing? There's so much money to be made out of this. And that's why they just keep expanding it. It's just, we mentioned earlier, tragedy chanting. They've expanded into that now. You know, it's just going to keep growing and growing and growing as long as there's an opportunity for people to make a pound note out of it. You know what I'm saying? Unless there's a physical threat, disabled fans will often experience hate crimes which aren't reported or escalated, while sexism, including misogynistic, that's the next one. You know, get your tits out for the lads. Oh, you've just been arrested. Congratulations. Or comments are not hate crimes under the law, he added. Oh, well, not yet. Unless there is a physical threat, often this is not reported to police. A spokesperson for Kick It Out, who didn't bother to put their name, they didn't want their name on this, which is, yeah. And again, they're saying, oh, no, the problem is a lot bigger. It's everywhere. It's all around us. You know, if only we could, give us more money and we'll find more of it. But some clubs believe higher arrest rates are down to more stringent security and show that they take hate crimes seriously. It also reflects that supporters may feel comfortable reporting others when they may not have in the past. Yeah, getting grassed up, innit? The supplied data only looks at arrests and does not mean they're all convicted. The overall stadium arrest figure also includes away fans. Again, what's this? This graphic is nothing. It's all the same colour. It's literally it's all the same colour. I think you get the idea with that. Just see. And then they just repeat it again. Over and over. And it just keeps going. Look, they just keep... So what's this here? Worst behaved home fans. What's this about then? Does it tell us underneath? that again, I don't know. They don't even tell us what that's about. Again, they're just repeating the same numbers over and over again. And then you get the idea with that, but again, no idea what this graphic is. But worst behaved home fans. What is that? Is that arrest? What is that? I don't know what that is. So again, fantastic piece by the Daily Mail. No wonder it's an exclusive. Fantastic stuff. Are they still banned from the Den? Trainee reporter. Adam Pogrund. Interesting name there. Shalom. Now, moving on to this. This is the written reasons for the melee. So, this is the commission in the matter consolidated the charges brought against Millwall and Bristol City, and charges against Joe Williams, Joel Coleman, and David Livermore. So the other guy admitted, the other two Bristol City players, was it two? They admitted the charges. But we'll find out in a minute. Livermore admitted the charges, but he wanted to submit written excuses or something. So basically, you can admit the charges and then still have a hearing in terms of trying to mitigate the punishment, apparently. Or you could just admit the charges and go, come, bring it at me, Joe. Bring it, Give me a ban, I don't give a fuck. But, Regulatory Commission decision. These are the written reasons for a decision made by an independent regulatory commission which sat on Monday the 12th of January 2026 via Microsoft Teams video conference. The commission members were Mr. Stuart Ripley, chairman, who I believe he's done one of these before with us, because I read it at the time. And I do believe that's the Stuart Ripley that was a footballer for Blackburn Rovers. I believe that is the guy. I'm not sure about that, but I believe it is. Mr. Peter Fletcher and Mr. Matt Wild, all three of whom are independent football members of the FA Judicial Panel. Mr. Nathan Greenslade of the FA Judicial Services Department acted as secretary to the Regulatory Commission. The following is a summary of the principal submissions that have evidence provided to Commission. It does not purport to contain reference to all points made. However, the absence in these reasons of any particular point or submission should not imply that the Commission did not take such point or submission into consideration when the members determined the matter. For the avoidance of doubt, the Commission has carefully considered all the evidence and materials furnished with regard to this case. They've carefully considered it, and they don't give a shit. The FA rules, they talk about the rules that were broken. They quote them. And then they say the FA's Essential Information for Clubs 25-26 sets out when incidents of mass confrontation are to be reported to the FA by match officials. Match officials are required to report any incident where two or more players or club officials are involved in a confrontation with opposing players or club officials. So that's a mass confrontation. So 3 players, 3-on-3 is a mass confrontation. I mean, not really, is it? Not in any definition is that a mass confrontation. So background to the charges. On the 6th of December 2025, Bristol City FC played Millwall FC in the EFL Championship and they lost. At the final whistle, the two managers, Gerhard Struber, GH, and Alex Neil of Millwall FC, Alex Neil, AN, approached each other for the customary end-of-game handshake. Heated words were exchanged between the two managers, and the handshake did not take place. Subsequently, each has blamed the other for not accepting the handshake. Immediately after the aborted handshake, As Alex Neil was walking away from Gerhard Struber, Bristol City player Jason Knight, JK, confronted AN and aggressively pushed him in the chest. This act triggered a reaction from the MFC assistant manager. Well, I think he's not assistant manager. His title's on Mill's website. Channing's the assistant, who was just feet away from shaking the hand of Gerhard Struber. DL, David Livermore, stepped between AN and JK and grabbed JK by the throat. From this point onwards, what can only be described as a mass brawl ensued in front of the two dugouts with up to 40 players and technical area staff from both sides, except for Stephen Bender. He did not get involved in multiple confrontations over a significant time frame. One Bristol City player and one Millwall FC player, neither of whom were named on the team sheet and were therefore beyond the jurisdiction of the referee, JW and JC, became involved in confrontations with Bristol City and MFC employees respectively. In the case of JC, that's Joel Coleman, he became involved in the brawl after he had intervened to pull away a Bristol City FC player who had the Mill club doctor in a headlock. Wow, okay. So here's the thing. They literally say in the report that Jason Knight pushed. They're not saying alleged. They're saying that this happened. Jason Knight pushed Alex Neil in the chest. He started it. He didn't even get charged. Jason Knight did not get charged. But it's here in the thing. How has he not been charged? How, for the love of God, has he not been charged? Having investigated the incident, the FA charged both clubs with misconduct under FA Rule E20.1. Both clubs were charged in the same terms, yada yada yada. The three individuals, David Livermore, Joe Williams and Joel Coleman, were charged with misconduct after the FA Rule. Well, no, actually, there were other players charged, but they admitted the charges. So, I mean, obviously, they're talking. This is a report about the people who asked for. They asked for the investigation, so that they could be heard. The other players admitted the charges and said, do what you want. So that's not even right. They're missing out. Surely you should say, oh, it says here, okay. My bad. Should have read it first. Both clubs admitted the charges. JW, Joe Williams and David Livermore admitted the charges. Joel Coleman denied the charge against him. All charges were consolidated pursuant to Regulation 13 of the Handbook. As such, all the charges were considered and determined at a joint hearing. Because it's all related to one incident, rather than obviously it wasn't like one game, different incidents. It was all the same incident, so it's all together. Let's save some money. Let's have one hearing. So Ross McCrory and Harry Cornick, both of the above-mentioned Bristol City players, were also charged with violent conduct in connection with the mass confrontation, as instances on the field of play which fell within Law 12, which were not seen by the match officials but were caught on video. Both players admitted their respective charge, and the automatic suspension of 3 matches was imposed in respect of each. So basically, they got a post facto red card. Evidence provided to the Commission. So the FA provided the following documentation to the Commission: statements from the 4 match officials, video footage of the incident, the identifications of participants as confirmed by the club respectively, and the FA's response to reply from FA Regulatory Legal dated 7th of January 2026. Bristol City provided the following documentation to the Commission: a letter from the club secretary. What the fuck? Their annual report and financial statements? For what? Are they trying not to get a heavy fine because they're saying, hey, we can't afford it. Look, we're broke. Please don't fine us. Why would you submit your annual report and financial statement in a disciplinary commission? What the fuck? What the fuck? A still photograph identifying Joe Williams during the mass confrontation. So they grassed him up themselves. What? No, he admitted it though, didn't he? Did he admit it? MFC provided the following. So here we go. Look, we've gone all guns a blazing now. Obviously, I don't know if you know this, we've actually hired a lawyer on retainer. We have our own lawyer now for when this shit goes down. So we've been very busy. MFC provided the following documentation to the commission. Still images identifying David Livermore, Joel Coleman and Dr. Wafik El Halami, peace be upon him. A letter from MFC legal counsel dated 8th of December. Witness statement from Max McClellan, Director of Communications at Millwall. A witness statement from Alex Neil. A witness statement from Mark Fairbrother. A witness statement from David Livermore. A witness statement from Joel Coleman. A witness statement from Wafik Al-Alami. Additional submission from Joel Coleman, including 10 images. So he's done his homework. Joel Coleman's been on the internet and he's got some still images from somewhere, and he's submitted that. A response to charge on behalf of MFC from Wigan LLP. So I think that's our lawyer. A response. Oh, okay. He's done it. So he's responded. Wigan LLP has responded on behalf of Millwall, on behalf of David Livermore, and on behalf of Joel Coleman. Now, the match referee, Mr. Edward Duckworth, wrote in his extraordinary incident report, after the full-time whistle, a mass confrontation occurred in the technical areas involving several technical area occupants and substitutes from both sides. Due to the number of people involved, it was not possible to determine exactly what had happened and by whom. We monitored players leaving the field of play and remained in the tunnel to ensure no further incidents took place. And then the assistant referee, aka the linesman, Jacob Graham, wrote, at the end of the match, as I was stood on the field of play with my colleagues, I witnessed a mass confrontation between both technical areas involving technical area occupants, substitutions, I think he means substitutes, and players. Given the sheer number of people involved in the mass confrontation, I was unable to identify exactly what had happened, including any offences. And then the other linesman, Nigel Lugg, wrote, following the conclusion of the match, I made my way towards the other on-field officials, and we quickly realised that a mass confrontation was occurring in the technical areas involving occupants from both sides. Due to the large number of people involved, it was very difficult to determine what had happened and who started it. I think you're starting to realise they all sound a bit similar, don't they? I wonder if they got their stories together and copied each other's homework. And then the fourth official, Richie Watkins, wrote, due to the sheer number of participants, I think they've been copying each other's homework, in the mass confrontation, some of whom were attempting to act as peacekeepers, it was incredibly difficult to pinpoint an exact individual act of misconduct. I was also conscious of my own safety, being fourth official positioned between both technical areas, so awareness of my surroundings and space that I could back into to avoid being caught up in the confrontation was a priority at the time for me. So he was literally there in it, and he still don't fucking know what's going on. Well, that's what he says. The commission was furnished with five different videos of the incident. They were titled Bristol City versus Millwall MC. I think that's main camera. Bristol City versus Millwall MC behind. Bristol City versus Millwall low behind. And then it seems they've got some fan videos, because they've got sstwitter.com, and there's a number. ytdown.com _YouTube _ Bristol City versus Millwall. So I think they've got some, footage from the crowd there as well. In its submissions, Mill questioned whether or not the case ought to have been designated as non-standard by the FA. MFC states in Football Association versus Sheffield United and Bristol City, despite a large number of players from both teams involved pushing and shoving and also surrounding the referee, the FA determined that the charge against Bristol City should be designated as standard. The incident, while regrettable, does not demonstrate anything particularly serious. There was no violent conduct, nor was the incident unusual in its nature. The categorisation of the charge against Bristol City in the aforementioned case demonstrates that the number of individuals involved is not in itself a determining factor for a non-standard designation. As such, the club submits that the charges have been improperly designated by the FA. So Mill was saying, so obviously now non-standard is like, oh, this is serious, whereas standard is like, oh, boys being boys, let's knock it off and don't do it again. So they've charged everyone with a non-standard. They've charged Millwall with non-standard, and they've got, but then compared to another charge on another case, because obviously this is public. I'm reading it to you, so this is public, so you can get all this stuff, and you can go through it, and one case should matter to another, should it not? The rules is the rules, so the outcome of breaking those rules should be the same in different circumstances. I think, it was pushing and shoving, and you see in the video as well, David Livermore grabs Knight by the throat, and then he realises, shit, I'm grabbing him by the throat, and then he lets go and he grabs him by his shirt, because he's thinking, I can't grab someone by the throat. Like, you literally see that. You see him doing that. So he is aware, like, oh shit, I shouldn't be doing this. But hey, fuck it, let me just grab his shirt instead. When you're in there, you know what I mean? The FA, in its response to reply, said, by virtue of Regulation 14 of the Fast Track 2, the FA has an absolute discretion to designate a case as a standard case. In exercising its discretion, the FA will not designate a case as standard where any one or more of the exceptional circumstances applies as set out in Regulation 15. In this case, the applicable exceptional circumstances cited by the FA is Regulation 15.1, where the particular facts of the alleged misconduct are of a serious and the unusual nature as determined by the association. So basically, they get to do what they want to do. The FA stated that the misconduct was serious and or unusual due to the following features: the high number of individuals involved. Well, they literally just said that didn't. They said in the other case it didn't matter. The involvement of technical area occupants in a massive confrontation. Everyone was involved, again, except for Stephen Bender. The creation of a hostile and dangerous environment in close proximity to the stands. Well, someone did come out of the stands and grab David Livermore by the scruff of his neck and pull him to the ground. And nothing has been done about that again. Nothing has been done about that. Because you keep mentioning it, and the Bristol City fans don't understand that you're not talking about Joe Williams. There is someone else who comes in from the crowd, a big fat bastard with grey tracksuit bottoms, who does that. And nothing has been done about that guy. The violent conduct used by multiple individuals. I mean, not really. Violent conduct? Really? 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 Grabbing someone and pushing them around is not violent conduct. In respect to Bristol City, the matter was also designated as non-standard because Bristol City had a proven breach in... Bristol City were already on the naughty step for the game against Sheffield United on March 2025. So that's why it's non-standard. The FA respectfully submit that the confrontational behaviour of the participants, in particular those individuals charged, demonstrates some of the worst on-field behaviours regulated by those rules. In fact, the present incident is one of the worst examples of FA Rule E20 in recent seasons. The confrontation was protracted, resulting in multiple smaller confrontations across both technical areas and into the stands. It involved a significant number of participants, a number of whom used violent conduct in the course of confrontation. Yes, and you did not charge. You did not charge Jason Knight, and you didn't charge Zach Viner. So don't fucking say, oh, it's really bad. And you don't charge two of the fucking people that did the two worst things. What the fuck are you talking about? Fucking hell. Further, the incident was captured by supporters in the stands and shared widely across social media. The serious and unusual nature of each breach and thus are thus clear on their face. I think that's a legal term. The FA state is not feasible to suggest that an incident involving at least 40 participants, including technical area occupants and multiple incidents of violent conduct that was in close proximity to the stands, is not serious and unusual. Having viewed the video footage and considered the submissions on the matter, the Commission agreed with the FA. This was quite clearly a case that merited a designation of non-standard, and the Commission proceeded to hear the case on that basis. In accordance with the non-standard penalty guidelines, where a breach has been admitted, a regulatory commission may disregard the standard penalty and may impose a sanction as high as those listed in the guidelines. The hearing. Before deciding on appropriate sanctions for the two clubs, it was necessary to deal with the three individuals charged by the FA. Joel Coleman, Millwall player. Sort of. It was alleged by the FA that Joel Coleman had acted in an improper manner. The case against him was designated as non-standard due to the incident occurring outside of the jurisdiction of the match officials. Joel Coleman had denied the charge and elected a paper hearing. And this is his statement. This is what happened. Joel Coleman stated, I could see a few people pushing each other on the pitch, but by the time I got down the steps, the situation had escalated. And once I reached the bottom of the steps, I witnessed our club doctor, Wafiq El-Alami, in what appeared to be a headlock by a Bristol City player, a centre-half with black hair, who was approximately 6'5" tall. Yeah, Zach Viner, the black guy. Can't say that anymore, so they have to say, the one with the black hair. Short black hair, very curly short black hair. The doctor, who's about 50 years old, and very visibly old, he's got a grey beard, and much smaller in stature, was clearly in distress, and I could see he was struggling in the headlock by the Bristol City player, and appeared to be in pain. The doctor was right in front of me, and was visibly distressed by the situation. I believed he could not breathe as his face was turning purple, and seeing the doctor in obvious distress, I felt I had to intervene to help him. I had no intention of whatsoever get involved in the broader confrontation, and never normally get involved, but allow the situation to naturally diffuse, but I only became involved once I saw the doctor was in serious trouble. Joel Coleman goes on. I approached the Bristol City player and I grabbed him by the shoulders, pulling him away from the doctor. My sole intention was to get him to release the doctor. I was not aiming to cause any damage to the player whatsoever. Moments later I was approached from behind and found myself put in a headlock, and this approach took me by surprise. And I pushed him off to free myself from his hold. And after this I walked away from the mass of players and I conducted myself in my usual post-match manner, i.e. politeful and respectful. Joel Coleman's intervention was corroborated by the Millwall Club doctor, who stated, I was then struck on the right side of my face and I grabbed around the neck by an unseen individual who approached from behind on my right side. I turned around and attempted to release myself from their grasp and pushed him away, and at that point I noticed it was a Bristol player who was wearing a warm-up kit, and the Bristol player had me in a tight headlock and I was in distress as I could not free myself. And fortunately, one of my teammates, Joel Coleman, grabbed the assailant and pulled them away from me, releasing me from the headlock and preventing further attack, and I'm thankful to Joel for intervening in this moment. The FA stated the following. The FA rely on the video footage of this incident is submitted that's where they got from Twitter. In particular, clearly shows JC pulling HC. Who's HC? Joel Coleman pulling HC from a confrontation, but then dragging him a number of metres while in a headlock position. In response, Ross McCrory grabs JC. Oh, that's Harry Cornick. So Joel Coleman pulling Harry Cornick from a confrontation, but then dragging him a number of metres whilst in a headlock position. In response, Ross McCrory grabs Joel Coleman and appears to put him in a headlock position, to which Joel Coleman responds by striking him to the face. Bosh! Have some of that! Whilst the FA accept the first action of pulling Harry Cornick off a colleague is unlikely to amount to improper or violent conduct, the subsequent actions of dragging Harry Cornick in a headlock and striking Ross McCrory to the face plainly do meet the threshold for such a charge. The Commission will note that Joel Coleman is silent to his actions. He's silent to the actions of placing Harry Cornick into a headlock and striking Ross McCrory to the face. Well, you don't admit You don't admit nothing. Let them prove it. This is despite paragraphs 1.6 and 1.7 of Joel Coleman's submissions showing still images of the former incident. Well, don't do that. The FA invite the Commission to find the charge proven on the balance of probabilities by virtue of the clear video evidence. The Commission are invited to impose a sanction of 3 matches to reflect the automatic penalty for violent conduct. It is noted that should the Commission not be minded to approach sanction in this way, Joel Coleman is not entitled to credit having denied the charge. What? The Commission, I don't understand what that means. It is noted that should the Commission not be minded to approach sanction in this way, Joel Coleman is not entitled to credit having denied the charge. What the fuck does that even mean? What are you talking about? The Commission, having viewed the footage, agreed with the FA that, taken as a whole, Joel Coleman's conduct amounted to improper and of violent conduct. But Jason Knight's doesn't. But Zach Viner's doesn't. What the fuck are you talking about, man? And the charge against him was made out, but felt some sympathy for him because he had been dragged into a confrontational and chaotic situation due to his initial decision to intervene in order to free the FC club doctor. So they attack the doctor. Joel Coleman steps in and deals with that, and then he gets attacked in response, and he gets charged. And he's got a 3-game ban. As such, whilst the Commission found the charge against Joel Coleman proven and recognised that no credit could be given due to Joel Coleman's denial of the charge, the Commission felt that Joel Coleman's record of no previous misconduct, his written apology, and the circumstances as described above merited a reduction to the 3-match ban that the FA had requested. The Commission felt appropriate and fair sanction for all circumstances would be to suspend Joel Coleman for 2 matches. So they suspended him for 2 matches. I thought it was 3 matches. It was just 2 matches. So they did reduce it, but he shouldn't be charged anyway. Why are you charging him and you're not charging Jason Knight as Zach Viner? Here we go. Here's the big one. David Livermore. Or Dave Livermore as he likes being called. David Livermore was charged with a breach of FA rule, yada yada yada. David Livermore admitted the charge against him, but he elected for a paper hearing for the purposes of sanction. The case was, correctly to the mind that the Commission designated as non-standard by the FA, that's serious, and the FA's rationale was as follows. The use of violent conduct by a technical area occupant on another participant is fortunately rare in the context of a professional fixture. How about the other way around? How about a participant, as in Jason Knight, using violent conduct on a technical area occupant, such as the manager of the opposing team? In this case, the actions of an assistant manager of a professional club grabbing an opposition participant in the neck area falls significantly below the standard of genuine behaviour expected by all participants. The fact that the laws of the game definition references players only highlights is the fact that it is not envisaged technical area occupants will engage in such behaviours. In respect to his involvement, David Livermore stated inter alia, to my right, I saw Bristol City player Jason Knight confront and push Alex Neil twice. It's this incident that, from my perspective, initiated the confrontation. This is the first time in my 450-plus match career as part of a first-team management team that I've witnessed such audacious aggression and disrespect from a player towards the opposition head coach. Firstly, Gerhard Struber's rejection of Alex Neil's hand was unsportsmanlike, but also, Jason Knight's confrontation and pushing of Alex Neil twice was completely unacceptable. Upon seeing this incident, I intervened by grabbing JK's collar. You grabbed him by the neck. We saw it. In response to JK's aggressive behaviour, he then stepped forward forcefully towards me, but I held my ground. Before stepping in backwards, within seconds other staff members and players from both sides joined in to separate us, but this only escalated the situation. After some grappling, I was forcefully pulled to the ground from behind. It wasn't Joe Williams. It was a fan. He did it. It was a fan. He even thinks it was Joe Williams. Bro, watch the video. There's a fat guy in grey tracksuit bottoms who does it, and then he runs. He realises what he's done, and he runs back into the stands. It was an opposition fan. After some grappling was forcibly pulled to the ground from behind by Joe Williams, he stood over me as I returned to my feet. I angrily pushed him backwards. It was stated on behalf of David Livermore that having walked across to shake Gerhard Struber's hand, David Livermore witnessed the shoving of Alex Neil. Both David Livermore and Gerhard Struber moved across on the second shove to try and break up the altercation. David Livermore took instinctive action to protect his manager, holding his right hand in an attempt to move JK out of the vicinity of Alex Neil. JK then pushed back against David Livermore, squared up to him, putting his face very close to David Livermore's face. As he did this, Gerhard Struber and a number of other coaches and players from both clubs rushed in, and the mass confrontation escalated. David Livermore was entrapped within a large mass of players and staff as others rushed in to get involved. This took place over about 30 seconds, and eventually the conflict was de-escalated and David Livermore managed to move away from the area in which the mass confrontation happened. While it is admitted that David Livermore committed a breach of the FA rule, it's submitted that his actions were limited to an attempt to protect his manager, who had just been shoved by Bristol City captain Jason Knight. But the FA stated, "It is the FA's case that David Livermore acted in an improper manner and used violent conduct towards Jason Knight by grabbing Jason Knight around the neck, throat area. This is evidenced by footage. The FA do not accept that the action was an attempt to break up the altercation or instinctive action to protect his manager, holding his right hand out in an attempt to move JK out of the vicinity of Alex Neil. The character of the action is plain on the footage. Grabbing another participant in the neck area was an aggressive physical action in response to JK's own physical aggression." They admit it. They fucking admit it. It's written there. JK's own physical aggression. Why was he not charged? Fucking hell. It was not necessary or proportionate in response to Jason Knight pushing David Livermore's colleague further. The action plainly had the effect of contributing to the escalation of the confrontation, prompting multiple players in technical area occupants to join the confrontation. Having viewed the available footage, the Commission felt that David Livermore had acted in a very unnecessary, confrontational, aggressive and violent manner in grabbing Jason Knight around the neck-throat area. His actions had significantly inflamed the situation, drawing other players and staff into the melee. He was seen to be aggressively pushing, shoving and grappling over a significant period of time. He found himself pushed to the ground and in further confrontation with Joe Williams, who by his own words, David Livermore angrily shoved backwards. David Livermore, as assistant manager of Millwall Football Club, holds a position of elevated responsibility, and he ought to have known better. David Livermore perfectly summed up the view of the Commission in his written apology, stating, "I sincerely apologise for my conduct in relation to the incident to my club, my staff and everyone else affected by my actions. If I could turn back time, I would not have confronted JK in the manner that I did. My reaction was as a result of emotions running high and a poor choice in reaction to Gerhard Struber and Jason Knight crossing boundaries of professional behaviour. My intention was to let Jason Knight know that his behaviour should not be tolerated. I need to learn that this does not give me the right to correct perceived injustice. In short, two wrongs don't make a right." The Commission considered the case aggravated by the following factors: David Livermore's position as assistant manager at Millwall, the aggressive inflammatory action of grabbing JK around the neck and throat, David Livermore's previous misconduct record. David Livermore had one previous breach of rule in 2023. David Livermore had admitted to that charge, which included using violent conduct against another participant after the final whistle, which resulted in a mass confrontation. On that occasion, David Livermore received a suspension of 4 matches and a £1,400 fine. The similarity in temporal proximity to this charge meant that it was, to the mind of the Commission, an aggravating feature to be considered in respect to sanction. It was 3 years ago, or 2 years ago. Given the seriousness of David Livermore's conduct, his position at Millwall FC and his previous misconduct record, the Commission was minded to impose a 5-match touchline suspension. However, the Commission took into consideration David Livermore's apology, his admission, and steps taken, and reduced the sanction to a 4-match touchline suspension and a fine of £1,400. Touch. Oh, what a touch. Joe Williams, don't give a fuck about that cunt. But again, I don't know if you can tell, I'm still fucking salty about that. They didn't charge Jason Knight or Zach Viner. Like, they even admit in the fucking report that he fucking started it. Aggressive action by Jason Knight. They wrote those words. They wrote those words. How need he not get fucking charged? Jesus fucking Christ. Right, so with the 3 individuals charged by the Commission, they turned their sanctions to the 2 clubs. How much money did they hit us for? Hang on. In coming to a fair and proportionate sanction for each of the 2 clubs, the Commission made the following observations. It's not particularly unusual. It's not unusual to see 2 managers failing to shake hands at the end of a high tension football match. It is, however, very unusual to see a player physically confront the manager of the opposition. So it's very unusual, and they still didn't charge him. They've said he committed a violent act, and they said it's very, very unusual. How has he not been charged? I don't understand it, for the love of God. How the fuck has he not been charged? Like, seriously, how has he not been charged? Fucking hell, man. It is, however, very unusual to see a player physically confront the manager of the opposition at the professional level of football. The Commission agreed with Alex Neil when he stated, "There's an rule in football that a player should not put their hands on the manager, and there's sure a clear lack of respect is this action from Jason Knight that instigated the confrontation. The Commission considered Jason Knight's extremely inflammatory act of pushing Alex Neil to have been the starting point for the mass confrontation. However, the Commission noted that JK was not formally charged for his conduct." So the FA have done it, and then the Commission they're like the third party. Like, they're connected to the FA, but they're kind of independent, if that makes sense. So even they're like, the Commission note that he wasn't formally charged for his conduct. The Commission considered that this mass confrontation as one of the worst it's seen in terms of the numbers involved from both sides, which included both players and technical area occupants. Whereas there were 2 MSC employees with proven FA misconduct charges emanating from the mass confrontation, Bristol City had 3, as well as the actions of Jason Knight. Bristol City had 8 proven E20 charges last season and 5 full season misconduct record, whereas MFC had 2 proven E20 charges. The Commission considered the creation of a hostile and dangerous environment, as the FA had put it, as a valid aggregating factor, and noted the words of the fourth official, who stated, "I was also conscious of my own safety," yada yada. So here's the incidents. So Bristol City's previous disciplinary history, it set out below, and you can see it against Stoke, against Sheffield, against Millwall. So they really don't like Sheffield, because Sheffield won only 3 times. Against Millwall in 24, against Birmingham City. Fucking hell, they keep getting fined over and over again. Against Birmingham, against Crewe. These are 2 under 18 games. These are under 18 games. So it goes throughout the whole club, you know, this the way they conduct themselves. What such a rotten club. I mean, oh my goodness. Sheffield United again. So 3 times against Sheffield United. Whereas with Millwall, so they're just talking about this one rule. They're not talking about the other stuff we got in trouble for. You know, the Crystal Palace stuff, all of that. AFC Bournemouth in 2021 and the Bristol City game in January 2024. Okay. I think this is the last page. If you're still... We're nearly at the end. In respect to the level of financial sanction to be imposed, the Commission noted that the guidelines were distributed to clubs in the essential information for clubs booklet at the start of the season. Clubs were thus on notice as to the level of fine to be expected in respect to breaches of its nature. The introduction of an entry point of 50% of the maximum fine was an approach supported by the FA's Participant Behaviour Working Group and approved by the Football Regulatory Authority. In accordance with the non-standard penalty guidelines, where a breach has been admitted, a regulatory commission may disregard the standard penalty and may impose a sanction as high as those listed in the guidelines. For each successive non-standard breach within the 12-month period, the maximum fine entry point shall double and then treble. As this incident represented Millwall and Bristol City's first non-standard breach within the last 12-month period, the maximum fine the Commission could impose was £50,000, with an entry point of £25,000. The Commission could see no good reason to move away from the guidelines or the entry point of £25,000. In terms of mitigation, the Commission considered that both clubs could derive credit for the following. They've cooperated fully with the investigation in terms of identifying the individuals to assist the FA. They've referred to taking steps to address the behaviours of star players and to remind them of the responsibilities. Both clubs have expressed their regret for the incident and apologised, and both clubs have admitted their respective charges at the earliest opportunity which they entitled to appropriate credit. Having considered all of what the Commission considered to be aggravating and mitigating factors, the Commission decided that a fair and proportionate sanction for both clubs would be as follows. Bristol City are fined the sum of £40,000 and Millwall Football Club are fined the sum of £30,000. Stuart Ripley, Regulatory Commission Chairman, 15th of January 2026. And on that note, thank you for watching and goodbye.